early 2005, about 120 houses. Just, that seller financing, like with the down payment arbitrage. But we bought them on seller financing, pre-foreclosures, gave the seller a couple $1,000s. They moved out. We renovated the properties and put a tenant in, and I built a portfolio of $36 million, 120 properties, right? From like late 2000, early 2004 to early 2005. $36 million in the height of the market. What happened is in mid 2005, the market was insane. There was 5,000 units of inventory on the market. 5,000 units. That's it. 5,000 units. And on that 5,000, houses were going like wildfire. They would hit the market, be 10, 15 different offers, price escalation clauses. It was insane. Builders were auctioning properties off. Not auctioning, but they were just like lotterying. They do a lottery on properties. It was insane. Why? Inventory. Inventory is key, by the way. Inventory. So the inventory was low. So what happened is we sold all of our properties to a group out of California that bought them for 110% of value because they were tenant-owned, cash-flowing, residential properties that they bought. I made millions and millions and millions of dollars. Crazy money. But then I had a friend of mine, a friend that I met through my daughter's dance, my older daughter. She danced, and she danced with a girl, and the girl's father convinced me to get into land acquisition and entitlement. Now, that is the stupidest thing to do. But I didn't know. I was naive. I thought I got big head, got ego, thought it was all that, right? So the market's going out. I didn't understand about market cycles. So this guy's like, hey, I know you guys got a bunch of money. Let's go buy land. We'll do the entitlement. He was a civil engineer that does all the entitlements. We'll do the entitlements on it, and we'll sell it to home builders. Man, they're making a fortune doing that. It's amazing. We can buy it, entitle it, and we can turn around and sell it, make a fortune. So guess what? We started acquiring land fast. I bought 138 acres here. I bought 20 acres here. I bought 36 acres here. I bought another 10 acres here, all infill dirt. And we did entitlement process. I was paying civil engineers all over the place. I was meeting with the city council, and I thought it was all big. We were doing city meetings, and I got big for my britches. My head got big. I got away from wholesaling because I thought it was all that. I was hobnobbing with the mayor, right? We're going to city council meetings, doing all that type of stuff. So what happened was the market crashed. The market crashed. And we're paying over $120,000 a month just to keep these properties afloat. A month. Do you remember 2008? Crash of 2008? Yeah. I owned at the time 560 lots that we entitled and over $30 million worth of land right when we hit the bottom of the crash. I was literally, talk about freaking out, crashed, right? So what happened was, I'm sitting there, and I went and I negotiated with all the lenders, right? And basically, we gave the properties back. I had millions and millions of dollars of my own money, a partner's money in that deal. The other partners that made millions on the property in the deal. Put that money in the deal, right? Lost that money, gave the properties back, never filed bankruptcy or anything, put it back to the lenders and say, okay, we want an option on that property at our strike price. And they, because there were non-recourse lenders, said sure, right? It wasn't that like, oh, sure, you know. I mean, it was pretty tough. I mean, months and months and months and months to negotiate. I spent all my time negotiating. So what happens, it was Labor Day 2008. The market just crashed in July. TARP was freaking out. The stock market dropped 700 points. The largest hard money lender in Phoenix dressed up in a tuxedo in his beautiful mansion, and took his life. He left 2 kids and a beautiful wife. Home builders were out of business. Neighborhoods were vacant. It was an absolute bloodbath. This was like the sand state. It was crazy. So what happened, Labor Day came to that point. We were paying $120,000 a month in trying to keep all this stuff afloat. Ran out of money. I had all these properties, right? We're negotiating with the bank and ran out of money. Illiquid. Couldn't do anything. I kind of stopped wholesaling because I was a bigwig now. We're just hiring these like $800 an hour attorneys to help us do negotiation on the entitlement process. And I was going to, these stupid, things for these, vice mayor to donate to their campaigns and all. It was dumb. And I turned around, and what happened was Labor Day at about 7 o'clock in the morning, I wasn't waking up, I wasn't working out, I wasn't in gratitude, I wasn't in appreciation, I wasn't reading the Bible, I wasn't praying, I wasn't staying focused. I was sleeping in. It was about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I hear a bang on this door. Now, when you get a bang on the door at 8 o'clock in the morning on Labor Day, you jump out of bed. And I jumped out of bed, had my boxers on, and I'm like throwing my hat on, I walk out, and I look, and I kind of open the door, and this big thug-looking dude's at the door. He goes, yo. He goes, I'm here for the car. Literally, panic, absolute panic just flooded over me. Panic, fear, anxiety, freaking out. I mean, literally the adrenaline just shaking in my hand. I remember I went back and I went to look for the key to go give the guy the key to the car, try to get, and I'm looking back and I'm sitting and my hands are like shaking. The guy's there to repossess my car. I don't know if you've ever helped that before. But what happened was, I was lucky enough to talk the guy out of taking it. Just give me a couple more days. So how many more days? And I scrounged up the money to pay this guy. So he didn't take my car. And my father-in-law gave me a book called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Success. Yep, 4 Spiritual Laws of Success. And the first chapter talked about tithing. Now, I grew up in a family, Christian family, and they talked about tithing, but I really didn't apply it to my life. It wasn't really something that I adopted. And I read it, and I know for a fact, God tapped me on the shoulder, and I made a commitment that day that I would tithe 10% of every dollar that comes into my household from that moment forward. And I remember I was driving down the street. I remember I had $20. This is after I made millions of dollars, after I did all the houses, after I did all this stuff. I was all hobnobbing. I had basically $20 on me. And had this lady that was sitting at the side of the road by a Costco with her daughter. And all I had is I reached down and I gave her $20. That was my first tithe. I was like, I give you $20. And I remember just breaking down in tears. I was just so grateful I'm not in that situation. So that's what brought this on the slide and why I'm talking about it today. And I tithed just started out with 20 bucks, then 50 bucks, then 100 bucks, then it went a little bit more, then it went a little bit more. To where now I tithe and annually more than the average American makes 5 times or more. It's amazing. Amazing. And believe me, it's not me. It's nothing I'm doing. So, this right here, this is the only test in the Bible that God has in the Bible that says, test me. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that you will not have enough room for it, because it will be overflowing. How many people want the floodgates open?